I've always been interested in interior design from childhood, really. I was brought up in the Far East in Hong Kong, and I think I was exposed quite early to not only lots of culture, but quite lots of luxury. All the hotels were there way before anywhere else that were accessible, to see things and to appreciate the beauty of what was around. When it comes to planning a project, firstly, it's important what the project is and who the team is, and to understand from the client exactly what their goal is and what they would like. We then typically look at the project and start to think about the team, whether they're in place or we need to advise on the team. And I call it the bones part, and then we start to build it up from there. But it's all about the relationship with the client and understanding what they want to achieve. I suppose we do have a signature style. I like to think we don't have one. But when I look back over projects over the last, lots of years, I would say that what we do is quite timeless. It's supposed to be stylish and elegant. I think those are the things that come through. There are other words, but if I was to use three, those are the three. And we always consider lighting in the design because when we tend to work on quite luxurious projects, and I always think there's not much point in spending all that money on beautiful things if you can't see them properly. And where lighting comes in and where lighting experts come in is they'll understand about shadow and things like that we could miss when we're looking at all the other aspects. So for us it's a key factor. The right lighting scheme will bring it alive. It certainly creates a different ambience at different times of day for different functions within the space, and that's why it's a great thing to have someone in to do it. In this day and age, there's an expectation for some sort of lighting control. The challenge is a usable lighting control. One of our recent projects in central London for a couple in their 60s, we gutted an apartment in a really lovely central location, and they were really wanting to have everything new and modern and do project properly. However, the challenges with learning how to do that were tough. We got there and we used Control 4 and we got there in the end, but it's difficult. It's difficult to get that blend, and some clients will automatically say we just don't want any of that fancy stuff, but an element of it is required. My favourite design trends of the moment are the fact that designers tend to be mixing things up quite a lot, so it's great to be able to source from different things, source new and old, or mix new and old, source from different suppliers, and it's quite good fun. That juxtaposition of getting the balance right is quite challenging, but it's fun. When it comes to decorative lighting, we would typically look at the ones we know quite well, but we're always looking for new ideas. So CTO lighting is a good one, sometimes Bella Figura, Best & Lloyd, and we're just investigating at the moment the ones that we saw at Maison in Paris in January, because there are a good handful of interesting European lights to explore. Yes, we've got a lovely project in the Caribbean, which is a new build, which we're very excited about. So have no idea what we're going to specify at this point, but I'm thinking about it. Actually getting a Pinterest board together, just because I don't quite know which way to go, but that will all come to light. And we're also looking at a really lovely furnishing project in Kensington and North London, something quite good in North London. So exciting, lots coming on. When we work with lighting designers, we have to have gone to quite a long way down the design process, which means having the client approval, of course, so that we're working on the same page. And once we have everything in place and have an idea of joinery, detailing, ceiling details and so on, then we will go to the lighting designer, because they will always ask us for that information, so We may warm them up to the project before, but we'd certainly know we need to have our drawings in place before we have a proper conversation. I think some of the developments that we work on can be challenging in that there's a large team. On the plus side, it's a very professional team and all the information is at hand that we need. On the downside, there are a lot of people to get approvals, so it works both ways. What I love about being an interior designer, even after more than 30 years, is that it's the fresh approach to each new project is always interesting, and I never get tired of that. Well, the process is always the same. The individuality always makes for a new challenge each time. It keeps it fresh. I like to think we stand out because our projects are timeless. A lot of them, when I look back over time, I'm choosing images for websites or now social media, which we spend quite a lot of time doing. I look back at some of the projects and they still appear quite current, and that's interesting when they on Instagram or wherever they are, or LinkedIn, and the attention that the post receives, I think, is testament to that. To come to us. We'll cut that, I suppose. To hire an interior designer, I would say synergy is really important. You've got to get on with them. You've got to understand, if it's a private client, then that's the most important thing, is to feel, to develop a trusting working relationship. And if it's a more commercial type of project, then there'd be a more commercial angle to it as well as the aesthetics. So, and talk to more than one, definitely. We always love colour, and I think there's a certain thread of confidence with colour through our projects. That said, I'm probably inclined to balance the colour too. Tend to be more warm tone. When we start a new project, we like to take a fresh approach to each project, so we go out of our way not to repeat the same items of furniture in the same colour spectrum. And that's something that needs some careful consideration, so that what we do and the brand stays correct and safe within what we've built up. But equally, we need to bring the changes so that everybody gets some individuality and personal treatment. I think consistency would be to do with textures and different confident use of textures, but we also have a product, a tableware product. So if there's anything we put in, it's probably one of our table mat sets. It's probably the consistent thing. Other than that, and that's if it works. If it doesn't work, we wouldn't put it in. So we're sitting in a location in central London where we are in an apartment block. It's 13 luxury apartments that were converted from office space. And the entrance is nestled in between a fast food place and a dentist. And we're now sitting in the penthouse, which is clearly got quite a suitable price tag for this market in this day and age. So it was important to create a feeling of elegance from the minute the journey starts at the front door up into the penthouse. And we were in a full client team with architects, structural engineers, quantity surveyors, asset manager was the client representative, and a property company called Nuveen was the main client. So, and our task was all the interior architecture and interior design throughout the project. So our inspiration for the furnishing, we have two different schemes. The 2-bedroom flat is slightly lighter and brighter, and we used vintage rose because we thought that the market, the target market, is supposed to be more of an English market in this area where solicitors and magistrates and members of parliament might live. So we went for a more English theme. And to bring the changes in the penthouse, we've gone for very warm autumnal colours, olive green, and then textures to balance that. Touches of blue, which follows on throughout the other rooms in the apartment. As you go through, so it hangs together, but each room has its own personality. Ideally, you need to go and train. That said, if they choose the path slightly later, may not be maybe just after uni, then to certainly go and get their drawing skills. I personally still open to people who don't necessarily have a 3 or 4 year course, because there's so much more to what we do than just computer skills. That's what I would say, is to get some form of qualification. In terms of drawing inspiration for being a designer, for me it's downtime, which invariably involves travel. I think because there's more time to think laterally, and then the sights that one sees wherever, whether it's somewhere like Hong Kong or a vibrant city, or whether it's a third world country, everything we do and everything we design is drawn from various experiences, and it tends to be a combination of all those experiences. So I'd say travel. How do I relax? Well, in recent years I've taken up yoga, which I really enjoy. At the end of the day I probably do that once, but a lot of it is meeting friends. I love cinema and theatre, so a combination of all of those things.